Hello and welcome to another complete OCR GCSE PE lesson, where you'll learn absolutely everything you need to know on topic 4.4, types of guidance and feedback. As always, we'll be following the OCR syllabus exactly and we'll cover absolutely everything you need to know for your final exam. For topic 4.4, you need to know about the different types of guidance, including the advantages and disadvantages of each, and the different types of feedback, applied to examples from physical activity. Before we begin, I'd really appreciate it if you'd take a moment to click the like button and subscribe to the channel if you'd like to be notified when the next topic is uploaded. Guidance can be defined as the help or instruction given to guide learners through movements, skills, and techniques to help them acquire skills. In a sporting context, guidance is usually provided by a teacher or coach, and there are 4 different types of guidance that you need to know. Visual guidance is guidance that comes in the form of images, for example, the use of videos, charts, or demonstrations of a skill or technique. This is usually the first way in which new skills are taught, as it helps learners to form a mental picture of what's required. Visual guidance is a quick and effective method of delivering information, may be easier to remember than a verbal explanation, and is good for beginners who don't yet know what the correct performance of a skill should look like. In addition, slow motion video allows learners to identify their own mistakes and make fine technical adjustments. In contrast, incorrect demonstrations cause learners to develop the wrong movement patterns, which may be difficult to rectify, and whole demonstrations may be too complicated for beginners to replicate. In addition, visual guidance does not help performers develop muscle memory or a kinesthetic sense of the movements involved. Verbal guidance is instruction given in the form of words. A coach may use their words to explain movements or skills, or to highlight the areas that a learner needs to work on in order to improve. Verbal guidance can be delivered quickly and immediately, meaning information can be passed on during competition. It can also be combined with other forms of guidance to develop a more complete understanding of a skill. Techniques and tactics can be explained in great detail, allowing coaches to highlight the finer aspects of performance, while effective questioning helps to engage, motivate, and build confidence. However, verbal guidance must be clear and concise, as too much information could lead to confusion, particularly amongst beginners. In addition, some skills cannot be accurately explained with words alone, so in the absence of other forms of guidance, learners may struggle to visualize the movements involved. Manual guidance is hands-on guidance, where the coach supports or manipulates a performer's body position, for example, when showing them how to hold a racket or golf club. This is beneficial, particularly during the earlier stages of learning, as it allows performers to acquire muscle memory. However, manual guidance may give learners an unrealistic feel of the motion, and performers may struggle to learn the skill themselves if they become too dependent on their coach's support. Finally, mechanical guidance involves using equipment like harnesses or flotation aids to support and guide the learner. It provides a safe environment for learners to try out dangerous activities and gives performers a sense of security, improving confidence and reducing their feelings of anxiety and fear. In contrast, performers might become dependent on support from equipment and resist having it taken away. It could be dangerous if equipment malfunctions, and may also give learners an unrealistic feel of the motion. For example, they don't take their full body weight when learning a new skill in gymnastics. Okay, so that's everything you need to know on guidance, so we'll move on to section 2 on the different types of feedback. Feedback is the information that an individual receives about their performance. It can be provided either afterwards or during, and helps us to assess the overall quality of our actions and make adjustments where necessary. There are several types of feedback that you need to know. Intrinsic or internal feedback is feedback that comes from within the performer, like the feel of a movement, an emotional response, or thoughts about an action or decision. For example, a gymnast performing a ring routine uses intrinsic feedback in the form of proprioception to sense the position of their arms and feel that their toes are pointed. Intrinsic feedback is beneficial for experienced performers as it allows them to immediately rectify a mistake or adapt a technique, but it lacks relevance for beginners who don't yet know what the correct execution of a skill should feel like. Extrinsic feedback, on the other hand, is feedback that comes from external sources and is perceived through the senses of sight and hearing. For example, When a footballer scores a goal, they see the ball hit the net and hear the celebrations of teammates and fans. After the game, they receive more extrinsic feedback in the form of congratulations from the coach. Extrinsic feedback is particularly important for beginners as they don't yet have the experience to interpret their own intrinsic feedback. Next, knowledge of results is feedback regarding the end result or outcome of a skill. It's a form of extrinsic feedback that comes from either seeing the result of an action directly or from another person, usually a teammate or coach. For example, in football, a goalkeeper sees that they were able to make a save. When training for long-distance running events, a coach informs the athlete of their lap times, and in golf, a player receives information regarding their position in a tournament via the leaderboard. Conversely, knowledge of performance is information about how well a skill or movement is executed, regardless of the outcome. It's often received during or immediately after competition and can be either intrinsic or extrinsic. For example, a tennis player receives intrinsic feedback regarding the performance of a ground stroke from the feel of the swing, and extrinsic feedback relating to their service action from the coach after the match. Finally, feedback can be both positive and negative. Positive feedback builds confidence and motivation and reinforces skill learning as it lets performers know when a technique has been performed correctly. For example, a rugby player sees their penalty kick clear the posts, and a teacher may say well done when a student makes a difficult pass during a netball lesson. Negative feedback, on the other hand, is information about an unsuccessful outcome, which can be used to improve performance as it shows learners what they need to adapt. For example, a coach tells a golfer that their grip is incorrect, and a dropped catch in cricket tells the fielder that there was something wrong with their technique. Negative feedback should be used sparingly, particularly when dealing with beginners, as it may affect confidence and the motivation to keep trying. Okay, so that's everything on the types of guidance and feedback, but before we finish, I'll leave you with model responses to some commonly asked questions on the topic, so pause the video here if you'd like to practice applying what you've learned. Well done, you've just covered absolutely everything you need to know on topic 4.4, types of guidance and feedback. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate your subscription, and I'll see you next time for topic 5.1, health, fitness and well-being.